Tonight, one voice is cutting through the noise in Washington louder than anyone expected. A 38-year-old freshman congresswoman from Dallas, Texas, has decided that some secrets have been kept long enough. Her name is Jasmine Crockett, and for the past 72 hours she has been on a mission that has stunned both parties, forced the immediate, full, unredacted release of every remaining document, recording, and flight log tied to the Jeffrey Epstein investigation, no exceptions, no delays, no protection for the powerful. What you're about to see is the most explosive 90 minutes of television we have aired this year. We're going to take you inside the room where it happened, show you the moments that made Republicans cheer and Democrats panic, and ask the question no one in power wants to answer tonight: why, 6 years after Jeffrey Epstein's death, are there still thousands of pages the American people are not allowed to read? Let's start with the clip that broke the internet yesterday. Cut to House floor, Wednesday, November 19, 2025, 2:47 p.m. Representative Jasmine Crockett is recognized for 1 minute. She is wearing a bright red blazer, hair pulled back tight, eyes locked on the C-SPAN camera like it owes her money. Mr. Speaker, the gentle lady from Texas rises today not as a Democrat, not as a member of the squad, not as a black woman who is constantly told to wait her turn. I rise as an American who is sick and tired of watching billionaires and presidents and princes skate while little girls carry scars they will never outlive. I have in my hand a letter signed by 112 members of this House, 56 Democrats, 56 Republicans, demanding that the Attorney General unseal every remaining Epstein file before the sun sets on this congressional session. And let me be perfectly clear, if the names in those files make my party uncomfortable, good. If they embarrass the last administration and this one, even better. Justice is not partisan, and neither is the truth. So to every lobbyist clutching pearls tonight, to every donor threatening to pull money, to every former president lawyering up as we speak, let me say this real slow: we are coming. Hide what you want, shred what you can, but the American people paid for those documents with their tax dollars and with their daughters' safety, and we are taking them back. I yield back the rest of my time to the victims who never got a minute on this floor. The chamber erupts. You can actually hear Republicans standing and applauding before the Democrats even figure out what just happened. The Speaker gavels for order 3 times. It doesn't work. That was 24 hours ago. Since then, Representative Crockett has been everywhere: Fox, Newsmax, MSNBC, Joe Rogan, Breakfast Club, everywhere, refusing to blink, refusing to name a single name she wants protected. And tonight, for the first time since she lit the match, she is here with us, live, unfiltered, and unafraid. Ladies and gentlemen, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Live 2-shot. Crockett walks out to a standing ovation from the studio audience. She is wearing the same red blazer. She does not smile until she sits down. Caitlin Collins, Congresswoman, welcome. That was some 48 hours. Representative Jasmine Crockett, 48 hours. Baby, I've been waiting on this fight since I was a public defender watching rich men walk out of courtrooms they should have rotted in. I'm just getting started. Collins, let's start with the obvious question everyone is asking. You are a Democrat. Bill Clinton's name appears in these documents more than 100 times. Donald Trump is in there. Prince Andrew, obviously. Leon Black, Les Wexner, half of Wall Street. You're demanding unredacted release of all of it. Are you prepared for the possibility that this blows up your own party? Crockett, Caitlin, I was raised in St. Louis by a single mom who cleaned offices at night so I could go to private school during the day. She taught me one thing: when you see something wrong, you don't ask whose team did it, you fix it. If Bill Clinton is in those files doing things that would send any regular black man from Missouri to prison for life, then he needs to answer for it like any regular black man from Missouri would. Period. I took an oath to the Constitution, not to the DNC. Collins, the White House put out a statement this afternoon saying the Department of Justice is reviewing classification protocols and will act as soon as victim privacy concerns are addressed. Your response? Crockett laughs once, sharp: victim privacy. That's rich. The victims have been begging for transparency since 2019. They're the ones who filed the lawsuits, who showed up to every hearing, who watched Ghislaine Maxwell get 20 years while the men who paid her got to keep their frequent flyer miles. The only privacy being protected right now is the privacy of men who've never had to worry about consequences a day in their lives. Collins, Attorney General Pam Bondi said today that some of the sealed materials contain ongoing intelligence matters involving foreign governments. She didn't specify which ones. Crockett, let me tell you what I think that means. It means somebody's embassy called Mar-a-Lago and somebody else's embassy called Chappaqua, and both of them are sweating right now. Good. Sweat. The American people aren't here to protect the feelings of pedophiles with diplomatic immunity. Collins, you've now got 56 Republicans co-signing your letter. Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Anna Paulina Luna, they're all on it. People are calling this the strangest political alliance since Strom Thurmond danced with Rosa Parks. Crockett, I call it the right side of history. Look, Matt Gaetz and I disagree on literally everything, abortion, guns, whether pineapple belongs on pizza, but we agree that little girls should not be trafficked to powerful men who then get to decide what the country sees and doesn't see. If that's the only thing we ever agree on, it's enough. Collins, the Congressional Black Caucus put out a statement saying, and I quote, "We are monitoring the situation and urge caution to ensure no unintended harm comes to survivors." Some of your colleagues are furious with you. Crockett, I love my caucus. I really do. But let me say this as gently as I can, monitoring the situation is what we've been doing since I was in law school. The survivors are tired of being monitored. They want to be believed. And the only way you believe a victim is when you drag the truth out into the light and let everybody see it, no redactions, no ongoing investigation, excuses 6 years later. Collins, you've been very careful not to prejudge any individual name. But the internet is not careful. They want to know, do you believe Donald Trump should be prosecuted if evidence emerges from these files? Crockett, I believe any men who flew to that island knowing what was happening there should have to answer for it in a court of law, not on Truth Social. Same for any men who took 26 flights on the Lolita Express and then bragged about grabbing women by their private parts. Same rules. If the evidence is there, charge him. If it's not, clear him. But we don't get to decide that from Mar-a-Lago or from a tarmac in Little St. James. We decide it with grand juries and trials and sunlight. Collins, and Bill Clinton. Crockett, same standard. 26 flights is 26 flights. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, didn't work in 1998, and I was just working on my foundation, ain't gonna work in 2025. Show the logs. Show the videos. Show the receipts. Let the chips fall. Audience applauds spontaneously. Collins, we have some guests joining us remotely tonight because this story is moving faster than any of us can keep up. Let me bring them in. First, Republican Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna of Florida, co-signer of the Crockett letter. Congresswoman Luna, you've been outspoken about Epstein for years. Why now? Why side with Jasmine Crockett? Representative Anna Paulina Luna, from Capitol Hill office because for once somebody stood up and said the quiet part out loud, both parties have been protecting their own. I've been called a conspiracy theorist for saying there are tapes. Guess what? There are tapes. There are hard drives. There are victim statements the FBI has been sitting on since 2019. Jasmine said, no more. I'm proud to stand with her. Collins, Democratic Congressman Dan Goldman of New York is also with us. Congressman, you have not signed the letter. Your statement today said releasing unredacted files risks irreparable harm to innocent third parties. Explain. Representative Dan Goldman, Keitlin, nobody wants transparency more than I do, but we have to be responsible. There are survivors who gave statements under seal with the understanding that certain identities would stay protected. There are also minors, some still minors today, whose names appear in these documents. We can't just dump everything on the internet because Twitter is having a moment. Crockett, leaning forward with all due respect to my friend from New York, those survivors have been on national television begging for the full release. They're grown women now. They've written op-eds. They've sued. They're the ones saying, stop hiding behind us. The only innocent third parties who need protecting are the ones who haven't been charged yet. Goldman, Jasmine, you're a former public defender. You know how careful we have to be with. Crockett, I defended children who were raped by their mother's boyfriends and watched judges seal the records to protect the boyfriend's job. I'm done being careful with predators. Audience cheers loudly. Collins, let's go to the package we put together on how we got here, because a lot of people tuning in tonight think the Epstein case ended when he died in that jail cell. It did not. Roll taped package, 4 minutes. Narrator, somber music. August 10, 2019. Jeffrey Epstein is found dead in his Manhattan jail cell. Official ruling, suicide. Conspiracy theories explode overnight. But the story was never about just one man. It was about a network. Flight logs show 150 prominent names making dozens of trips to Little St. James, Epstein's private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Palm Beach police uncover a safe full of CDs labeled with victims' names and the words "Young" plus another name. 2019 to 2021, Ghislaine Maxwell is arrested, tried, convicted, sentenced to 20 years. 2022, J.P. Morgan and Deutsche Bank settle lawsuits for hundreds of millions, admitting they looked the other way while Epstein moved money. 2023, a federal judge in New York begins unsealing documents from the Giuffre vs. Maxwell civil case. Names trickle out: Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, Alan Dershowitz, Glenn Dubin, Jean-Luc Brunel. But thousands of pages remain redacted or fully sealed, citing everything from national security to victim privacy. 2024, the FBI admits it has additional hard drives recovered from Epstein's New York mansion that have never been made public. January 2025, newly confirmed Attorney General Pam Bondi says the files will stay sealed pending review. November 2025, Jasmine Crockett reads every public victim impact statement on the House floor for 3 straight hours, then drops her letter demanding total release. Cut back to studio. Collins, Congresswoman, one of the victims, Virginia Giuffre, posted on social media tonight, "Jasmine Crockett is the first politician who ever made me feel like someone was actually fighting for us." How does that hit you? Crockett, voice cracking, "For the first time it hits me in my soul. Because I know what it feels like to have the system tell you your truth doesn't matter. I've had clients, little black girls, little brown girls, whose cases got plead down because the defendant had a football scholarship or a rich daddy. And I'm tired." These women were children. Some of them were American citizens trafficked on American soil, and we're still negotiating how much truth they deserve. Enough. Collins, we have time for one more question before we go to break. You've been called reckless, dangerous, an attention seeker. What do you say to people who think you're burning down the village to save it? Crockett, I say the village is already on fire. The only question is whether we keep pretending we don't smell the smoke, or we finally open the windows and let everybody see what's burning. Collins, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, everybody. We'll be right back with a panel you will not want to miss. Commercial break. Collins, welcome back. We're talking about the demand to release every remaining Epstein file, and the woman leading the charge, Representative Jasmine Crockett, is still with us. Joining the conversation now, former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani, CNN legal analyst Elie Honig, and survivor advocate Spencer Kuven, who represents several Epstein victims. Elie, you first. Legally, can they actually do this? Can Congress force the DOJ to unseal everything? Elie Honig, Congress can't directly order it, but they control the purse strings. If 218 House members and 60 senators say no more funding for the DOJ until the files come out, guess what? The files come out. This is raw legislative power. Nima Rahmani, and don't forget the court angle. Judge Loretta Preska already ruled most of this should be public. The only thing holding it back is executive branch foot-dragging. Spencer Kuven, my clients are unanimous tonight, they want every page released tomorrow. They're not afraid of their own names. They're afraid of the world forgetting again. Collins, Congresswoman, your critics say even if you win, you lose. That you've made enemies of every powerful person whose name might appear. You ready for that fight? Crockett, I grew up in North St. Louis. I've been fighting people with money and power my whole life. The difference is now I have a vote and a microphone. They can come for me all they want. I'm not the one with something to hide. Collins, final question. If these files come out and the names are as bad as everyone fears, presidents, senators, CEOs, what happens to America? Crockett, quiet for the first time, then steady. We finally start healing. Because you can't heal from a wound you pretend isn't there. America has been walking around with an infection for decades, thinking money and fame make you untouchable. This is the antibiotic. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna be ugly. Some heroes are gonna fall. Some villains are gonna be exposed. But on the other side of this, maybe, just maybe, we get a country where no little girl ever has to wonder if the man hurting her is too powerful to be stopped. That's worth whatever they throw at me. Collins, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, thank you. And to everyone watching at home, whatever side of the aisle you're on tonight, the question is the same: how much longer are we willing to wait? This has been a CNN Primetime special. I'm Caitlin Collins. Good night.